I have been in one of the deeper emotional holes of my probably last 5 or 6 years over the past 6 weeks. It's been a fairly unpredictable period just because a handful of different areas of my life all having certain, not like crises, but like specific things that were piling on top of each other, like a bunch of waves coming together. They all like amplified at one point in time, and I've just been dealing with some significant emotions. And it is in these moments that I like to redefine them as pop quizzes. They're little pop quizzes. And what does that mean? A pop quiz is basically just like a small test from God, I guess. And it's saying, how prepared are you for this based off of the work that you've done beforehand? And the reason why this reframe that I made up I like so much is because pop quizzes, if you remember back in school, didn't define your grade. Sure, they had some influence on the overall grade at the end, but your grade wasn't fully determined by them, likely especially in university. They didn't even matter. They just made up 5% of your grade and they just tested if you were paying attention. And so when I experience these moments like I'm in right now, I think of it in that context of, okay, this probably isn't the moment where I am going to grow the most right now in the moment, but it will be the thing that demonstrates, shows me how much preparation I've done into this moment and my level or my competency of emotional resilience and how equipped my toolbox is in order to handle this moment, right? And so while I've been in this emotional state, and I'm honest, I usually don't struggle with sleep or my routines and stuff like that. The past 6 weeks, I've put in significant effort, increase the amount of kind of self-care and decompression and support that I've received in order to treat this moment with an equal level of intensity as I am receiving emotionally, or just kind of like just from the experience itself. And don't worry, I'm fine. But what that shows me, right, is that I'm highly prepared in the context of recognizing when I'm in an emotional place, when something significant is going on, highly competent at recognizing when it is occurring, and also at treating it with importance, which is a characteristic of people who tend to engage in self-shaming behaviors, won't allow themselves to reach out for help or to properly support themselves with an equally intense amount of support as the experience is demanding, right? So someone who shames themselves a lot very likely will have a difficult moment, but then will say something like, oh, I should just be able to get through this, and they won't actually receive the proper support that, even if they don't need it, quote unquote, would likely expedite the process of moving through that time and also alleviate a bit of the discomfort and just have them act in a way during that period that's more likely to lead them to results or products that they want. And the thing that I've recognized in my life is when I'm going through these moments where I'm feeling quite low consistently over a duration of period of time, is that these are moments where once I'm able to catch myself as I've been doing and treat it with an equal level of support. And an example of that is like reaching out to my therapist and booking sessions for the next couple of weeks. Not even necessarily about therapy, just about having an access to vent to or have support with bringing up to some emotional topics, or reaching out to specific friends just to be a bit more social and to not isolate, to dive into my routines, to extend my morning routine. That's the reason it's there. It's there to support myself based on what I need. And so my morning routine will expand in duration with more quiet or more preparation for the day in order to give myself a high likelihood of engaging. So all these variables change depending on how I'm doing. And once that happens, and I'm into a flow of supporting myself with the proper level of care to handle said experience, regardless of how long it's going to take, because we usually don't have control over how long our emotional response is going to be to some certain trigger or stimuli, then I can go into the more logical or rational ways of solving said situation. And so that's like closing up any situation that's actually showing up. Like, how do I rationally and successfully move through one of the several experiences or waves that's coming into my life right now? That's a more rational thing. What we're talking about now is like, how do I focus effectively on the right thing? It's a prioritization problem. Who are the right people to delegate to? And then the big one, and this is the one when I brought this up, is the concept of seasons of life, which is it is really effective if on a relatively consistent basis, every couple weeks, every couple months, you just take note of what of the 6 seasons of life. We have mental, which is the work that you do. We have emotional, it's the emotional work that you're putting in yourself. It's like personal development. Spiritual, social, health, and then adventure/hobby. If you can know, generally speaking, what number 1 season of life you're in, and maybe the 2 or 3 kind of supporting seasons, then in these moments, after I've caught myself, I can look at that and think, okay, based off of what I'm actually focused on in this moment, where can I deprioritize the most? Because something that happens for me and a lot of systems-minded, curious guys, engineers, scientists, entrepreneurs, is that there's a tendency to overcommit ourselves. And while I'm much more effective now at this point in my life at not overcommitting, when we are in an emotional place, our bandwidth decreases. So even if, say, like we're constantly at a 70, 80, 90%, which is completely normal, right? You're never at actually 100%. You're very rarely at 100% capacity day in, day out. Say you're operating at like 80 or 90% based off of the noise that's going on in your life, your relationship, your work, the stresses, geopolitics, like whatever's going on. You're at 80, 90% most days. When you're sick, or when you're in an emotional place, that decreases. And all of a sudden, now you're at 60% capacity. So now you're over capacity of what you've actually committed to because you're lower energy. What does that mean? Well, one effective way of reducing down the actual threshold of commitments into now this new ceiling of what you have energy-wise, emotionally speaking, psychologically speaking, is to deprioritize. So we use our season of life to identify what are the areas where we can deprioritize without facing the largest consequences. What are the seasons of our life where we can find things to deprioritize such that we don't affect our main goals that we're pursuing in that moment. Because the purpose of all of this is, yes, is to take emotional care of yourself, to decompress, to be aware of how things are going, but at the same time, operate in such a way that we continue to push forward on the long term and be consistent with the goals that we're pursuing. For example, this YouTube video, I'm pretty tired right now, but I have a commitment to the type of content and the duration of content and the consistency of content that I want to put out, right? And so I'm prioritizing this video over other specific things in my life that I have deprioritized for this specific moment, where in a normal day I would get to everything, right? But I don't need to get to everything. However, I want to be consistent with my main season, my main goals. And so in order to do so, I am aware, I catch myself, I support myself, I deprioritize the things that are not of the utmost priority, they're not in the main season that I'm working on, such that I can continue to be consistent and move forward with the main season, main goals that are going on, regardless of how I'm feeling. Because the reality is that I will, in probably a short period of time, as I'm already doing, come out of this experience, get to a place where I'm back at 80, 90, 100% of my capacity, right? But when I get to that place, I don't want this to have fully impacted all of the work that I'm doing. So we want to choose the most important season of life and the priorities within them to continue to move those forward, regardless of how you're feeling emotionally, in order to, on the long run, have consistency toward the goals that are important to you. I am Flint from iAlign. If you resonate with this, please like this video, follow and subscribe, comment down below if you're in a period like I'm in, and if you need support, I'm happy to reach out and help you. I have lots of resources to do so, or just in general if this video resonated with you. Regardless, I hope you have a great day. Peace.